On the news, court declares Governor Fubara's 800 billion naira 2024 budget illegal. Lagos State government bans styrofoam and single-use plastics. Others clamp down on manufacturers and distributors. And 5 kidnapped Al-Qadriya sisters regain freedom in Abuja. Glad to have you join us on News Now on TV360 in Nigeria. I'm Tamilore Akinkwole. The Federal High Court in Abuja has nullified the presentation and passage of the Rivers State 2024 budget by an unauthorized 4-member legislative group. Justice James Omotosho issued a mandate for Governor Siminalayi Fubara to represent the 800 billion naira budget to the legally constituted House of Assembly led by Speaker Martins Amuwele. The court ruling emphasized the need for the restoration of legitimate assembly leadership and rejected the withholding of assembly funds by Governor Fubara, citing a lack of constitutional authority. Furthermore, the court barred Governor Fubara from obstructing the House's functioning.
Basically, His Lordship granted substantial parts of the relief sought by the plaintiffs. That is the Rivers State House of Assembly and the Speaker, Right Honorable Martin Amewula. And indeed, in clear terms, condemned various acts of the 11 defendants, that is the governor, and equally the acts of the Honorable Ehi Edison, who had purported to be the speaker. The governor, His Lordship, in clear terms, declared that as at today, the National Assembly do not have any reason or justification to take over the constitutional functions of the Rivers State House of Assembly. So they cannot exercise such powers, and he restrained them. Okay? Secondly, the court equally stated clearly that all acts done by the governor, the 11 defendants, the Attorney General and Rivers State government, while this suit was pending, and after he had made an order on the 30th day of November 2023, were a nullity, including proceedings wherein the governor had purported to have presented to 4 members.
Now, to give more legal clarification on the implication of the nullified budget in Rivers State, earlier on I spoke to legal expert Liberus Oshoma, and I began by asking him how the court's decision imparts the implementation of the nullified budget in Rivers State.
The court nullifying that budget does not mean that he cannot be represented. I think it's in the spirit of the resolution reached by parties. So that since the budget had hitherto be passed by House, there was need to, so that you don't say the budget was passed twice, there was need for a nullification to now allow representation of the budget. So that nullification means that the budget will not be implemented, but it can be represented to the House now, to a full complement of the House, having them resolve, the other members should come back. And so unlike the budget passed by 5 members of the House, that's nullified now. So now you have a budget presentation of a full complement of the 32 or 31 members of the House, since the factional speaker had resigned and now be appointed chief of staff. So the budget will be represented and then properly debated before, because the one that had been nullified was not even debated at all. It was the same day it was presented, it was passed that same day. So the nullification, the implication is the fact that that budget amounts to nothing now. It is as good as that budget was presented, so it is going to be represented.
All right, what legal recourse, if any, is available to the government or lawmakers following the court's decision to nullify the budget?
Yeah, basically, like I said, the legal recourse is to represent the budget, because the essence of nullifying that budget is the fact that the budget was presented to a House that did not have the full complement of the House. And so the legal remedy available now to present that budget to the full complement of the House, and then it will be debated taken to the committees, and the various committees will look at the presentation of the budget. All the commissioners will now in turn come back to defend the various sections of the budget before it was passed, unlike the approach that was used before that wasn't properly followed. So it can still be represented. The fact that it was nullified does not mean that it cannot be represented.
Now, lastly, before I let you go, in the agreement brokered by President Bola Tinubu, the governor had agreed to represent the budget to the full House of Assembly before consideration and passage. Now, why does he appear to be reneging on that agreement he clearly signed up to?
I don't speak for the governor. I wouldn't know why he's reneging, or maybe he was advised also that a budget having been passed cannot be represented, no matter how it was passed. So, but I think that the best thing to do was what had happened now, a nullification of the budget, so to enable the governor repass it.
And that was legal practitioner Liberace Shoma giving his thought on the nullified Rivers State budget. Now, amid the insecurity challenges going on in Abuja, the Nigerian police has reported the successful rescue operation that freed 5 sisters who were kidnapped earlier this month. Now, this rescue operation is coming in the wake of the series of town hall meetings held by the Minister of FCT Nyesom Wike to nip the bud of insecurity in the state. Now, our correspondent Okpeyemi Owosheni has the details.
The kidnap of the 6 Akadia sisters in the country's capital, Abuja, triggered outrage at their plight and an epidemic of abduction across the country in recent years. The girls aged from the early teens to 23 were abducted from their home in Abuja earlier this month. The kidnapping occurred on January 2nd when the 6 sisters and their father were taken hostage at their family house in Buhari. Sadly, during the incident, the girls' uncle and 3 police officers were killed. While their father was immediately released and ordered to pay about 60 million ransom for the children, one of the sisters, 21-year-old Nabia, was later killed by the abductors for delaying payment of the ransom. The kidnapped victims were rescued from the Kajuru forest in Kaduna State around 11:30 p.m. on Saturday, January 20, 2024. Giving details of the rescue operation, the Nigerian police says it was a joint effort between the police and the army that led to the reunion of the girls with their family. This rescue mission is also in the wake of the series of town hall meetings held by the Minister of FCT Nyesom Wike, who reiterated the efforts of his administration in ensuring that insecurity in the state is reduced to its barest minimum.
And so in the next few days, you will see the action of the security agencies to make sure that this kidnapping is brought to a halt.
The kidnappers had demanded a ransom, but the police statement did not mention if any ransom was paid. Meanwhile, Defense Minister Mohammed Badaru Abubakar has discouraged contributing towards ransom payments, stating it would worsen the situation.
We believe we have to stop, as painful as it is. We have to stop responding to payment of ransom. If we stop, over time, the kidnapping will not be profitable, and they will stop. It's not easy though, but that is the rule.
While the minister has condemned the payment of ransom, the successful rescue operation brings hope to many. But the incident also highlights the urgent need for increased security measures to combat kidnappings in Nigeria. Okpeyemi Owosheni, TV360 News, Lagos.
The Lagos State government has officially imposed the ban on utilization and distribution of styrofoam and other single-use plastic across the state. Now, the announcement was made by the Commissioner for Environment and Water Resources, Tokumbo Wahab, through a statement released on Sunday. Styrofoam, commonly employed in the production of disposable plastics used in eateries, has been singled out due to its non-biodegradable nature and the adverse impact of single-use plastics on the environment. The decision is to implement the ban as a direct response to the environmental challenges posed by these materials. Now, the ban on styrofoam and other single-use plastics across Lagos by the state government has been criticized by residents, with many calling the move a hasty, impulsive decision devoid of critical policy making. Now, joining me to discuss the environmental implication of proper waste disposal, I am now being joined by environmentalist Desmond Mike Jekojumi. Thank you for joining me. Now, what specific environmental impact are associated with the use and distribution of styrofoam and other single-use plastics that prompted Lagos State government to implement this ban?
Well, the reality is that this plastic, it is not healthy to have in your environment at all, apart from the obvious fact that it blocks the drainages, that causes flooding, which can cause all kinds of catastrophic consequences for the people in a place like Lagos, which is prone to flooding anyway. It's a very low-lying place with streams and rivers everywhere. But apart from that, this plastic, it is not biodegradable. It doesn't break down. When it goes into nature, it goes into the ground, it goes into the water, it releases toxic chemicals. It is a chemical substance. And those chemicals, they are poisonous, they are deadly. They will give children who are the most vulnerable, it can give them cancer. And it causes all types of other problems in the metabolic system of the human being. And particularly the styrofoam. The styrofoam, it doesn't break down at all, and it's very, very difficult to recycle. At least other plastics, a lot of other plastics, if they're used responsibly, you can recycle it and you can get some value back out of it, and you can keep it away from the environment. Remember this, we call it environment, but it is really our life support system. If you have a healthy environment, then you can have a healthy life. If your environment is unhealthy, you cannot guarantee any good health in your life or the life of the children. So very, very necessary to get rid of this rubbish once and for all.
All right, in your opinion, how effective do you think this ban will be in reducing the environmental footprint of single-use plastic, especially considering the scale of usage in a populous state like Lagos?
Yes, it has to be done very pragmatically. We've seen the current Commissioner for Environment is all for it. He understands the implication of his position, of his job. He is protecting our life support system, okay? So I believe he will go all out, but it has to be done pragmatically, and it has to be accompanied with very, very intensive campaign. I don't believe that they're just going to go around to all the people who have these plastics tomorrow and just seize them. But I think this is the beginning of a process. I hope it is beginning of a process to persuade people that this thing can no longer be used. Other countries in the world have banned it a long time ago. Countries in Africa, Kenya, they've banned all this stuff because it is not healthy. It is bad. It kills people. It causes all kinds of problems. So I'm optimistic that they will get it right this time. That it's not just a matter of bravado. Because as I said, this particular commissioner has showed that he is up to the task, and he's been doing some very, very good active things in the environment in Lagos. So yes, I am optimistic, but we need to get the buy-in of the people. That's the key.
All right. So, lastly, before I let you go, why would the government establish laws regulating proper waste disposal? Why is that there is not a focus on ensuring stringent adherence to these regulations rather than implementing an outright ban on plastic waste?
Yes, well, if something is as dangerous as the styrofoam, it needs to be banned. You know, what's the justification for having it there, apart from the fact that it is very useful and it is very cheap to make, and so it's very profitable. And this is the reality that humanity has to come to terms with, not just in Lagos or Nigeria, Africa. Humanity has to come to terms with the reality that you can no longer put profit ahead of people, ahead of planet. People have to come first. There's no justification, no matter the amount of money that you're going to make, if you're doing something that is going to be responsible for people losing their lives, especially children, you cannot justify it. So it has to be done. And there are many alternatives. There are natural alternatives. You know, our forefathers, we were eating in gourds, we were drinking from calabash, we were wrapping food in leaves. All these things were biodegradable. When you finish, you throw it into the bush, it goes into the bush as fertilizer. So we should take a lesson from them.
Environmentalist Desmond Majakojume, thank you for speaking with us. Now moving on, Minister of Foreign Affairs Yusuf Tugar has advocated restructuring of the United Nations Security Council because of its clumsy mode of operation. The minister made the call while speaking on a panel with the team securing an insecure world in Davos, Switzerland, on the sidelines of the just concluded World Economic Forum meeting. Tugar said the values of democracy, such as the rule of law, should be replicated in the world's highest decision organs. He also expressed his pleasure that security chiefs and defense policy makers are taking the front seat in world security issues.
To begin with, the UN Security Council, it needs to democratize. Clearly, it is not fit for purpose. Nigeria, you mentioned, is a large country. It is the most populous country on the continent, on the African continent. It has a population of 220 million people. It's going to be 400 by the year 2050. It belongs in a UN Security Council, for instance. You know, when you look at the global security architecture, it is impacted upon by such undemocratic entities that influence decisions. Again, you have a situation where in the past, when we had a bipolar world, we had neutral ground for diplomats to engage, for diplomacy to be allowed to resolve issues, to preempt conflicts and diffuse them.
We'll take a short break, but still to come, Joseph Boakai sworn in as Liberia's president after victory over George Weah. Stay with us for details. Here's a quick recap of our top stories. The Federal High Court in Abuja has nullified the presentation and passage of Rivers State's 2024 budget by an unauthorized four-member legislative group. Justice James Omotosho issued a mandate for Governor Siminalayi Fubara to represent the 800 billion naira budget to the legally constituted House of Assembly, led by Speaker Mati Zamawele. Furthermore, the court barred Governor Fubara from obstructing the House functioning. We also told you that the Lagos State government has officially imposed a ban on the utilization and distribution of styrofoam and other single-use plastics across the state. The announcement was made by the Commissioner for Environment and Water Resources, Tokunbo Wahab, through a statement released on Sunday. According to him, the decision to implement the ban is a direct response to the environmental challenges posed by these materials. Now, in case you missed any of the news bulletin or for more updates, you can catch us on Lime's World TV or log on to our website on www.tv360nigeria.com. You can also follow us on our social media platforms on Twitter, Instagram, and YouTube at TV360Nigeria, or download our mobile app on Google Play Store, or Huawei App Gallery and Apple Store. On Facebook, we're at TV360 Online.
In the last 3 years, we have built a multi-purpose center, which is the envy of all in our constituency. And I can tell you that the people who are living there are already enjoying it.
Guy, do you think what this man just said is true? See, I seriously doubt. I'm sure it's one of those their silly lies.
And wait, do you know there's a way to find out if these things he's saying is true or not? This is the Construct app. It gives people like us a sure way to track implementation of constituency projects. It gives valid and verified information on location of projects, amounts allocated, amount funded, the level of job done, and even the profiles of concerned legislators. you and I can post directly on this app.
Are you serious?
This is the GoTo app. If you want to know how our Commonwealth is being expanded by the government.
Wow. Let's even see if what this man said is true. Show me.
The Construct app is developed by Other People Nigeria with support from USAID and is available on both Google Play Store and Apple Store.
And it's true.
Of course, I told you.
Let's now delve into the business world. Simisola Adigun adds the latest stories. Over to you, Simi. Thank you, Tamilore. Welcome to Business News. In Taraba State, over 42,000 households have reportedly benefited from the Pro-Cell project, a 66-month food security and resilience initiative funded by the European Union. Executed by Oxfam and the Development Exchange Center in Taraba State, the project aims to enhance the adaptive capacities of small-scale farming across 80 rural communities in 6 local government areas. During the project's closeout review meeting held in Abuja, the country director of Oxfam in Nigeria and the representative of the European Union highlighted the positive impact of the Pro-Cell project. They emphasized its role in contributing to food security and building resilience in the targeted communities.
The project has been a beacon of change, resilience, and empowerment in the rural communities of Taraba State. This is because our dedicated efforts, led by our staff and partners, have resulted in impressive outcomes. 1. A notable 83.2% increase in livelihood access within households. 2. Enhanced production in livestock and fish value chains for 82% of farmers. 3. A significant 55% of women experiencing increased access to resources and control over access. And finally, the empowerment of 35% of farmers, particularly women, contributing to improve livelihoods, to mention but a few of their achievements.
Today, as we close the chapter on these projects, we do so with a sense of accomplishment, but also with a deep sense of responsibility. The progress we have made is just the beginning, and the challenges that lie ahead are significant. It is now our duty to ensure that the seeds we have planted continue to grow, flourish, and bear fruits.
We thought that by improving the skills and the capacity of rural farmers, they will be able to do better in the area of production, in the area of preservation, in the area of marketing of the produce that they get from their various farms. And we are delighted that today we're here coming to the end of that particular milestone in our engagement, not only with Nigeria as the European Union, but also with Taraba State government.
Stock market report. Do stay with us. The bulls' dominance continues on the Nigerian equities market as the local bulls gained by 1.30% on the first weekday of trading, while the all-share index stands at 52.41 trillion naira. In aggregate, 125 NGX-listed equities participated in trading. 24 stocks advanced and 45 stocks declined, while 52 stocks remained unchanged. Sudo Assurances Nigeria leads the pack of gainers with a 10% share price appreciation, followed closely by Dangote Cement. Now, at the end of the first weekday of trading on the NGX, a total of 721 million volumes of shares were traded in 15,700
57 deals corresponding to a market value of over 14 billion naira. Now, for our global stocks, global equities index rose on Monday as Wall Street continued to feed on momentum that took it to a new record high last week, leaving all our select global stocks, that's the UK's FTSE, US Dow Jones and Japan's Nikkei, in bulls territory. That's all on business and stock market reports. Tamilore has the rest of the news.
Thank you, Semisola. Now, on the foreign scene, Joseph Boakai has been sworn in as Liberia's president on Monday following his election victory over former football star George Weah. The 79-year-old was sworn in for a 6-year term after he narrowly defeated former Ballon d'Or winner Weah in November's runoff poll with 50.64% of the vote to 49.36%. Boakai, who holds 40 years of political experience, served as vice president from 2006 to 2018 under Liberia's first female president, Ellen Johnson Sirleaf, before being beaten by Weah in 2017 election. Given his long career in politics, Liberians expect Boakai to create jobs, improve the economy, strengthen institutions, and fight corruption, which was one of his key campaign pledges. And up next is Entertainment Report on News Now.
The Grammys has announced Nigerian megastar Burna Boy as one of the performing artists at the 2024 Life Awards show in another historical feat for Africa. Burna Boy will make history by becoming the first African artist to perform at the Grammys Live Recording Awards show in an announcement made on January 22, 2024. This is another landmark feat for the Nigerian superstar, who holds the record of being the first African artist operating within the Nigerian musical industry to win a Grammy Award, which he won in 2021 for the Best Global Album for his 5th album, Twice as Tall. At the 24 Grammys scheduled for February 5th, Burna Boy is nominated in 4 categories, which is a Nigerian record for the most nominations in a Grammy year, which he makes the first Nigerian lead artist to be nominated outside the global categories. Nigerian TikToker DJ Chicken apologizes to Grammy Award winner Wizkid for disrespecting his late mom in a recent call-out. DJ Chicken becomes one of the trending conversations online as he disclosed during a live video that Wizkid will soon join his late mom in the grave. He calls Wizkid a finished artist, saying that the Essence Corona has become less well-known in music business and that he never pays him. However, Wizkid fan club took offense of DJ Chicken's call-out video and demanded his immediate arrest. Making a U-turn, DJ Chicken, who is obviously feeling the heat from Wizkid fan, tenders apology to the singer to forgive him as he claimed that it's all love from his side. And that's it on entertainment segment on News Now. Queen Ibanigo, TV360 News, Lagos.
And finally, on sport, at least 6 fans from Guinea tragically lost their lives in exuberant celebration that turned fatal following the national football team's victory over Gambia in the 2023 Africa Cup of Nations. The media manager for Guinea Football Federation, Ambodu Makaji, emphasized the importance of celebrating without putting oneself in danger, emphasizing that the goal of the football is to bring joy and not to leave families in mourning. The Guinea Football Federation has also called for calm and urged fans to celebrate victories in a more measured manner to avoid further tragedies. And that's all we have on News Now. Thank you for watching. I'm Tamilore Akinkwulie. Bye for now.